Get ready to uncover how schools manipulate students' thoughts, stifle their potential, and how politicians steal money and the future of America from kids. Welcome to the JB Sills Show.
All right, everyone, homeschooling. It's rising. Thanks to the thing. You know the thing. You know, as Joe Biden would say, you know the thing that's going on right now. Homeschooling is rising.
The plague.
Well, sure. There was recently a RealClear Opinion poll that was released that showed a whopping 40% of parents were more likely to homeschool their kids when the thing is all over. How about that? We could be seeing millions of kids start to be homeschooled when this is over. This is going to be a revolution. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. You can put it in your record books. Right now, it's going to be another homeschooling revolution like the one we had in the 70s and the 80s, the first one. There's going to be another homeschooling revolution where millions of parents are going to be like, why are my kids in public school again? And millions of kids are going to be like, what was I doing in public school? My goodness, it was horrible.
Even you dread going back to school.
A little bit, yeah.
Because of what you've researched and stuff.
Well, I had no idea how bad the school system was. And this was especially prevalent with young parents, 18 to 45, I think it was, that were all very, very likely to start homeschooling their kids when this is all over, which is, that's pretty huge in my opinion. That's huge. But of course, while this is all happening, the entire, and when I say entire, I mean entire with a capital E, mainstream media, won't stop blabbering on about, we need to get kids back in school. How are we going to reopen the schools? Oh my goodness. It's so stupid. The mainstream media just won't shut up about this, about how wonderful the schools are and how the kids need to be right back in the school system right now. Otherwise, they're not going to know arithmetic because that's totally what they learn.
Which kind of represents the school system itself. Very rigid, not flexible, very commanding.
The mainstream media, you mean?
No, the school system.
Right, what represents it?
The mainstream media,
right.
They're saying.
Well, the mainstream media is basically an extension of the school indoctrination and dumbing down. The whole dang thing is just an extension of indoctrination and dumbing down.
You do this, you do that, get to class this time, sharp.
Right, so that makes sense. And even more stunningly, 64% of parents support school choice. Now, if you don't know what school choice is, it's where you get good kids out of the worst of the worst public schools into a public school that's not gonna kill them physically and mentally. Maybe it'll just kill them mentally, right? Which I guess is better. So that 64% of parents support school choice. Again, very, very, very prevalent with young parents. Younger parents especially support school choice, which is very good. It shows, very promising trends, right? So homeschooling is rising. School choice. Hopefully, I assume there's more support for school choice means there's more support for charter schools as well at this point. There's going to be more support for charter schools. Just anything to get the government out, even kind of out with charter schools or school choice, where you have some of these hard public schools begin to fail, right? Because they have 200 kids going to it.
Why don't you do a little refresh on charter schools from one of our first episodes we did on charter schools?
Yeah, actually, that's a good.
Do a
Okay,
refresh.
right. Okay, that's good idea. So charter schools basically are like public schools, except they're run privately with public funding, and many of them aren't that good, but the ones that are good are really good. And the thing is, right, bad charter schools close. Bad public schools, well, they're going to stay open. They stay open indefinitely, which is why you have so many. You can't even fathom how awful these places are. They make many other public schools look like heaven, even though they're all hard. They're all horrible. Don't get me wrong, but some of them are. You can you can scarcely imagine how horrific they are. So, I'm definitely in favor of school choice, even if it's not the solution. It certainly would help, and so are many parents, which is what we need, because parents parents are willing to fight for their kids, right? Parents are willing to fight for their kids. That's why so many parents homeschool their kids, right? Because they care so much, and many of them realize, to some extent at least, just how atrocious the public school system is. I mean, you wouldn't believe it if you haven't gone to public school within the last couple decades, or you haven't gone to public school at all. I mean, you can scarcely imagine how just detestable the situation is. So, really, really great statistics. Again, I think there's going to be a second homeschooling revolution when this is all over. And yes, the death and the destruction and this horrible financial state we're heading towards it's all awful, right? No, no one's downplaying that. But we're not really known for trying to look on the bright side, but I think there is going to be a bright side to all of this and this, don't make no mistake, this will eventually pass. This pandemic will eventually pass. Don't make no mistake about it. So, when it's over, I think there's going to be another homeschooling revolution where parents say, hey, hold on a minute. Why am I sending my kids to public school when I can teach them twice as good, 10 times as good, 1,000 times better than what public schools do, right? It doesn't make any sense. Why am I sending my kids to public school? And even if both parents work, the kids can still take online programs, great online programs. They're out there. Anyway, moving on. So, and
they don't have to eat school lunch.
Oh my goodness, we need to do it. We're gonna need to do a series on that, right?
We need to repeat all
we've kind of done one series was on the Islamic infiltration, and then the second series is on the origins of public school. We need to do a series on school lunches and the food pyramid and all that, the pyramid scheme. That's the food pyramid. All that. We need to do a series on that, but I'm getting sidetracked here. Harvard has canceled their basically anti-homeschooling summit. They've canceled it, which is just glorious. And many of you probably remember that hit piece on homeschooling that was written by that horrible, detestable Harvard professor, Elizabeth Bartholet. She made some truly horrific attacks on homeschooling. It was all over Harvard Magazine, and they glorified her essentially. But the entire everyone else that did an article on it was absolutely shaming her. And if you go to the Harvard Magazine article, which is in the description, and you read the comments, I mean, they rip her to pieces. We could go through her quotes piece by piece, but frankly, I don't have the mental energy, and it would make me too angry just to see her spitting these outright falsehoods. So I'm not even gonna do it.
Maybe later at some point.
I'm not even gonna. It's too. I would get too angry, and
maybe I'll do it.
You can do it if you want. And of course, homeschooled students, they score higher on. They beat the public schools at their own game, right? In addition to they're much more likely to be free thinking, but they beat the public schools at their own game. They score higher on tests. They're more likely to go to college and graduate once they're in college, and they have a much, much higher GPA than these public school kids. And also, it's been found that, honestly, the level of education that their parents have doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. Heck, most of the homeschooled kids are from poor families because the parents know the public school system is just atrocious. It's detestable in every single way, especially in the cities where there's more lower class people. I mean, these people know, they really do. They know what's going on. They know the situation, and they know the situation. I mean, you can't even put into words how bad it is. It's truly, my goodness. So, if there are any parents listening to this, then my message basically is strike a blow against this horrible system of indoctrination and dumbing down, where there's foreign powers trying to control your kids, and you have a 2,500-year-old utopian agenda, which is the school system. It is the school system. Don't make any mistake. This is the school system. That's what it's made of. Strike a blow against that. Homeschool your kids. It will go well, especially if they're younger, especially if they're still in elementary school.
There are many great programs for homeschooling out there.
Right, and there are even some social elements of it which you can get. And honestly, studies have found that homeschooled kids are just as socially adept as public school kids. It does not make a difference. It actually does not, believe it or not.
Yeah, just make sure they're talking with other kids and being kids.
Well, of course, all right, and I think that actually that's more likely to happen in homeschooled because public school. I mean, the recess time for public school kids within the last 40 years or so has been cut in half. So I think that's even more likely. That's actually more likely for homeschooled. You're more likely to be in that situation where you're getting lots of exercise. You're outside. You're talking and playing with other kids. I think that's even actually more likely, if anything. Where are we on time?
Like 10 minutes.
Well, I don't really have anything left to say today. But we could certainly talk about some other things.
You want to talk about the food pyramid and school lunches and stuff for a little bit?
Well, I don't haven't done a ton of research, but we can always laugh at it, sure.
We can.
Yeah, food pyramid, yeah, it's wonderful. And even the new MyPlate version, which is supposedly the new thing, but I don't really believe that it's the new thing public schools operate on. But the food pyramid, the MyPlate thing, you're supposed to have grains the most, excuse me? Whole wheat? Excuse me? I am not a nutritionist, but common sense just completely goes against any of that. Literally any of that. I mean, it's absolutely, and of course, public schools make no mistake. Public schools make kids hate fruits and vegetables. All right, if you want your kids to be obese, make them buy school lunches. It's a one-way ticket for your kids to be obese. Just like the one-way ticket for losing weight is to vote for Bernie Sanders, the one-way ticket to become obese is to have your kids eat school lunches every day. All right, kids that eat school lunches are less likely to participate in activities. They're more likely to be obese. They're less likely to be successful in life, and they're less likely to eat healthy. I mean, I can't fathom eating school lunches. It's unbelievable what's happening, and it's all because we've essentially given a monopoly. You have to understand, we've essentially given a monopoly to just a couple companies: Aramark, Compass Group, and Sodexo. Those three companies have a complete monopoly on school lunches. And by the way, side note, Compass Group and Sodexo have both been sued for mismanaging funds and both paid $20 million. But these three companies have a monopoly. There's no other competition. Have a monopoly on school lunches.
Over the whole country, or?
The whole country.
Okay.
That's right. It's nationalized. I mean, our whole education system is nationalized. But the food lunch sector has been completely nationalized, just for three companies. There's no free market competition, and these kids are being force-fed garbage. Stuff you'd feed your dog. I'm telling you.
If you have to send your kids to public schools, send them with fresh fruits and vegetables, and don't make them eat the bitter vegetables and unripe fruits.
Fruits and vegetables are good.
They are.
You put salad, right? Little ranch dressing, maybe a lot of ranch dressing. It's really good, right? Send them with good food, and they'll eat healthy later in life, right? Fruits and vegetables can be good, all right? And don't make them eat tons of grain and carbs, because that's what's contributing to our obesity crisis. The more our government encourages the consumption of carbs, the more obese we all get. I mean, this is simple stuff, really.
I think JB's getting a little heated.
I just can't with these people and this system. I mean, and it's all the byproduct. It's all the byproduct of this horrible foundation of public schooling. Not even horrible, malicious, truly malicious, to dumb kids down and to turn America into what would become a dystopia, basically. It's all a byproduct of that. And you see, obviously, as everyone's trying to find what could possibly be the cause of this obesity crisis. Is it fat, right? Is it what could it possibly be? Is it bad eating standards? Is it too little government? No. It's too much government. It's the dang food pyramid. It's school lunches. That is the cause.
It's the influence early in their life.
In the last few decades, school lunches have become incredibly standardized, incredibly widespread, right? They've become incredibly common. Many of them are now given just for free, right? You just give them for free, and a lot of kids don't have that kind of food security, so it makes sense to happen. But this food, I mean, literally, it's stuff you'd feed your dog. Some of it, you wouldn't believe how bad it is, right? I mean, I won't gross you out, But my goodness, it's hard. It's ghastly, truly.
On that happy note, time to end the episode.
But leaving you off, homeschooling is rising all across America. Families are choosing to homeschool their kids. If you're a parent, I hope you do too, especially if your kids are young, because it will end in success. It almost always does. And
make sure they have the proper social life while they're being homeschooled as well.
Right, and with that, I think we're going to end off the episode there. So if you have any questions, you can email me, jbstillshow@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment down below. Please do subscribe and share. That's what I really want to emphasize. Subscribe and share.
If you heard the floor creak during this episode, sorry.
Yeah.
It was kind of creaking a lot.
Okay, well that's wonderful. You can press the notification bell so you never miss a new video. And until next time, I've been your host, JB.
And I've been producer Brooke.
And we are signing off. Bye.